What's up, guys? Unfortunately, I have to bring you some bad news in this video, but I do not want to start on a bad note, so we're going to start this video by opening up a package of car parts I got. I broke the seal already because I don't want to show my address like I always do on accident. But anyway, we open this up. And you can see what we have right here is something made in China. And then what we have right here is potentially also made in China. But let's move that out of the way. And what we have is, oh, now I gotta cut this. Some heat wrap for the exhaust, which is going to be really nice because I can protect that oil drain and keep the intercooler pipe from getting too hot now. So we'll put that on at some point, and then over here we need to open this one. Let me cut the tape on this guy. Alright. In here we have a nice little, oh, it smells really bad. Well, you can read it right there. And, yeah, little oil catch can that we can go ahead and install to hopefully cut down on the amount of oil that my car is burning. It's getting pretty bad though, so I need to check a few things. I'm going to install this. I'm going to make sure the turbo seals aren't blown, but I'm pretty sure the engine just kind of needs a rebuild at this point, but I'll take whatever we can get. Now, on to the bad news. So I got this really loud clunking sound when I stop, and I thought it was the axle. Like it doesn't sound like brakes, but I thought it was the axle. So I came down here and I checked out the whole axle, and everything seems okay with the axle itself. But I noticed, let me turn on the flashlight here, that if you push on this, there's a ton of play in the transmission. Like that. There's no way that should be happening. It doesn't do it on the other side. So I'm actually going to pull out this axle and take a look at the bearing in there, which sucks because these bearings, they're OEM bearings. I just rebuilt the trans like 50,000 miles ago, and everything's completely good except for this one bearing on this side. So I checked the bearings on the outside of my differential that go around this part up here and down there, and they're actually okay. The play that I'm getting seems to be in the gears on the inside, which, as you can see in this diagram, I mean, this isn't the exact differential, but the gears rest against the body of the differential, and that's what they use to hold them in place. So really, it probably shouldn't have play, and if it does, it's going to be the gears or the actual differential itself worn out. So I'm not sure if this is a big deal. I looked at some other, schematics like this one right here. You got the two bearings on the outside, which are perfectly fine on mine, and then you have the gears with this little lip right there, and you see how they're shaped, and that's what has play in it, is that gear. So let me know what you guys think. I'll show you outside in a moment, but I think for right now I'm just gonna get a new axle because that one's pretty worn out, and pop it in and see if my noise goes away. Alright, I got a new axle just in case because it was free. The other one had a lifetime warranty, so that's good on there. But really quickly, I'm just going to show you guys that if you look in here, this is where the bearing is on the outside of that. And that's like, perfect. There's no play at all. But the actual gear all the way inside here is what has play. It's not a ton though. So I'm thinking it should be okay. You can kind of hear it. But it's just that gear all the way in there that has a little bit of play. So I don't really think it's that. I mean, maybe. But let's go ahead and put that new axle in and just see what happens. Alright, so it's all back in now. Here's the new one. That's weird. Isn't that weird? That's pretty weird. I've never seen that. But it looks cool, I guess. But anyway, same thing. Still got, like, play into the trans. You can see it really good over here. Trying to do it without shaking the camera. Let me know if you think that's a big deal. It's in the gears, in the diff. That's not in the bearing. The bearing's actually fine. So let me know if you think that's a big deal. I guess if it doesn't make any noise anymore, I'm just gonna run it. If it's making a whole ton of noise, then I guess when I build the motor this winter, I'll pull the trans out and I will put in either a different trans or grab a different differential from a different trans. Probably grab a different differential because I rebuilt that one like 50,000 miles ago. Obviously I didn't replace the gears in the diff, but all the bearings are new and all the synchros are new. Makes no noise, shifts perfect. So probably just grab a differential out of a different one and then swap the bearings onto that one, or put new bearings on it, I mean. All right, guys, it is a few days later and we're working on the oil catch can that I bought. So check out what we need. We have this right here. What we're actually gonna do is we're gonna run to both of these and we're gonna put the filter right here on top. So we're just gonna run it to atmosphere. And we're gonna run one line from here, from the valve cover, and then this line from the PCV valve. And then to block this off, what we're actually gonna do is just run the wastegate vacuum line right here straight to this port. And then I'm gonna put something in here for the time being to seal this off. And then I'm just gonna get a new brake booster line from the junkyard next time I'm there. So wastegate will go to its own port on the intake manifold. And then this part right here, I'm just gonna like electrical tape that off or something. We're gonna use what we have for now. We'll probably update this hose in the future. This is the crappy hose that came with it. But this is what I'm gonna use to extend what I need to. What I'm actually gonna probably do is this hose isn't long enough, so I'm going to get like something to get this hose onto there with, and then we'll just run this hose to one side, and then we'll use just this hose to go from the valve cover to the other side of the oil catch can. And then to mount it, I'm actually going to make a bracket that bolts into this right here, and this is just gonna get mounted down here, just like that, with the filter on top of it. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on all that. But first I'm gonna go to the store and get some stuff that I'm gonna need. All right, so I'm back with the store, or back from the store with the stuff I need. So I do have a question. Now, one way that this could work is you just kind of interfere with the PCV valve, you know, pop this one off that goes down to the PCV valve, plug it into the inlet on here, and then take the outlet and run it to the intake manifold right there. So that way, just anything that would come up into the intake manifold from the PCV valve would get filtered through here. So, you know, it would go in, collect the oil, then come out and go into the intake. Now, the reason why I'm doing it this way, or I'm just routing both the PCV valve and this to here and then have the filter on here, is because that will still allow the crankcase to ventilate and collect oil from the crank, and it will keep the boost from going into here. Because if you have it hooked up from the PCV valve to the intake manifold, when you build boost, it's going to put pressure in the out, and I don't know if that would necessarily be a bad thing. And you could just leave this plugged right here. So let me know. That's what I'm avoiding, is I'm just avoiding boost going into the out. So that way the only thing is, you know, both of them will go into here and then breathe out the filter. So pressure will just kind of be going in here and then out. At least that's how I understand it. I know that's how some people do it. That's how most people do it, is they just hook up the valve cover and the PCV valve to this and breathe it to atmosphere. That's how I'm going to hook it up. But let me know if you think I should do it the other way. Before you all yell at me, I figured some stuff out about this can. It's going to work fine, so don't worry about that. Here's the bottom part. Here's the top part. So it has a baffled section, but it doesn't have any steel wool in it. So this actually unscrews and I can fill it with steel wool. They actually marked the out and the in backwards on this, because it should go through the baffling before going out the filter on top. So really this is an in. I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be. Really, both of them should be ins, and they should have just had the baffling before the filter. So if there's a proper catch can, that's how it'd be set up. But what I'm going to do, because only one side is going to be baffled, is I'm going to hook the PCV up to this side so that it runs through the baffling before it goes out the filter. And on the other side, I'm just going to hook up to the valve cover, because not that much oil is going to come out that side anyway. And then that's going to probably go, I mean, it'll catch some of the oil because it'll run into the can, but then the vapors are just going to go out the filter at the top. Should be fine. It should work. It'll be way better than what I have, because I don't have any kind of catch can system right now except for the factory breather chamber on the back of the motor. So I know this has been a lot of explaining. I'm just going to go ahead and start getting to work.
Souvenir of what
I had a little trouble bolting this together, but I just realized something. Obviously it comes apart, so what you could do is you could put this one on, turn this thing sideways with just that one bolt in, put these two in, and then you can get to this bottom bolt from the back here. Can't really get to the top one, but the bottom one just fine. What I ended up using though is I just squeezed this with these channel locks and it worked perfectly fine. I was still able to tighten it really tight, so it'll work either way. Also, I did want to show you guys that I did go ahead and fill this part with steel wool, so that should help with the system as well. Alright, so it worked, but and it's sitting exactly where I wanted it to too, but it's just really flimsy, so I'm gonna have to come up with something else. I'm gonna keep using it for now though. I'm just gonna get this thing running and see how it works, and then I'll figure out something else to mount it later. Maybe I'll just like extend the bracket and then bolt the bracket down into the bottom with like a zip screw or something like that as well. That should honestly fix the problem, but for now we're just gonna run it as is. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and do the final assembly, time lapse, and then I'll go over it all when I'm done.
We are dancing like the nights are never ending. We will live a life, we will live a life, live a life, we will live a life.
Due to some technical difficulties, the time lapse didn't record, but I'm all done. As you can see, I need to get a different hose. This is the hose that came with it, and it's all kinked. Like, I mean, maybe it'll work because it's gonna be pushing pressure out. But I'm gonna get different hose. Also, I didn't have enough of this hose, so you can see the PCV goes down in there. I just spliced it onto what was already there. I'm not gonna change that. That's gonna stay like that because I don't feel like going underneath and replacing the whole PCV hose. But I do need a longer piece of this hose to go all the way to here without having to use this blue stuff. But you can see how both of those are hooked up. And then right here, I actually got nice vacuum things, so I got that off with a vacuum plug, and then I put a vacuum plug on this part too, instead of this thing with the bolt in the end, which was kind of dumb. This looks a lot better. I'm gonna put one of these hose clamps on instead of the zip tie, but I'm out of hose clamps now, so I just have the zip tie on there. I need a new brake booster line now. I'm gonna put it back to how it was without this cut in it, and I just spliced that together for now, and I ran the wastegate directly into the intake manifold. So should be a lot better of a setup. But I'm gonna go ahead and start the car really quick. Running good. Only thing left to do now is just take it for a test drive. See how it does, I guess. I'll do that tomorrow, but I'm gonna end the video. So with that, technically the catch can is fully installed. I need to replace the hoses, but other than that, everything is good at this point. I need to relocate some of the hose clamps. I will show you that in the next video, but for now, thank you for watching, and peace out.